Atmanamaste, dear soul crafters. Welcome to my exclusive podcast, Soul Crafting with Tanushri, Crafting Your Inner Awareness. Hi, I'm Tanushri, your energy transformation and mindset specialist, author of the book Bring Out That Red Lipstick, and an energy worker. I'm also an ICF approved life coach. I am on a mission to enable 100,000 women to discover their innate feminine energy balance through my Inner Shakti blueprint in 90 days. I'm thrilled to bring out the special Soul Sunday series episode of the podcast season 1, the Awakening series. As the old wise saying goes, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. This podcast is for all those people who are in the daily grind of life, who have forgotten to take a pause and smell the proverbial roses. For those who need a hand to learn self mastery of their thoughts, emotions, and inner self. I am learning too and would like to share this journey with all my fellow listeners and viewers. Together, we can go miles. The Soul Sunday series is a special curated guest speaker series. We invite inspiring guests who have successfully converted their adversities to opportunities and transformed themselves inside out to share with us their journey. Today, in the next episode of Soul Sunday series, I'm so thrilled and excited to introduce you to our guest, Suresh TK, who is already there in the studio. So, without wasting any more time, let's get chatting. Hello and a warm welcome, Suresh TK, to our show. I'm thrilled to have you here today on my weekly Soul Sunday series.
Hello, Tanushree, and hello, welcome to all the viewers and listeners.
So, Suresh TK is a national level basketball player having 2 decades of experience in IT industry, managing projects, and currently working as a senior manager. He is on a mission to enable corporate professionals to apply sports success values in corporate life to achieve success. He is also an author of the book Sports Agility Mindset and co author of the book Being Employable along with 25 other professionals. So, Suresh, we are waiting to hear all about your sports journey, about your corporate journey, and what prompted you to pen down your thoughts in this book.
Yeah, book writing was never in my mind. Of course, it happened in the due course, but it was sports always fascinated me more. During my childhood, I was always involved in sports, whatever be it the sport. Until I think the at the age of 11, I picked up basketball more seriously, and I started playing that game. And eventually, I saw that there is a lot more to it in the sport compared to what I was doing, playing some the marbles or the kite flying and things like that. This game looked more serious to me. Also, what I felt is, it was a sport which was respected. So when I got started, it was more of okay, fascinated by the name of the sport and things like that, which I never played. And eventually I started playing, and when I saw that, during one of the practice sessions, I could see some seniors who came to the court, and they were wearing a jacket which it was written Maharashtra behind it, and they were all being congratulated, and they were getting a lot of special attention. And I just thought that they all went to a shop and bought the clothes together, and I don't know why they were being congratulated for that. That's when my coach told me that no, this is something very special. These are the people who went and represented the state, and they played for Maharashtra, and they've come back as winners. And that is when you get this kind of accolades, and this kind of tracksuit and things like that. And that kind of, it light a bulb in my head, and I felt that, yeah, this is what I want to be tomorrow. Till then I was not that seriously playing the game, and then that's when the journey began. And if you see, during the whole course of starting from there till becoming national level basketball player, at various junctures, I could learn a lot of things in the sport. And when I look back, and when I look at my corporate life of 20 years, I can relate a lot. For example, the moments which I spoke about, the tracksuit part of the Maharashtra, that was a dream, or you can say, objectives which we usually set in the corporate world. During the whole course of the game, I learned a lot around, lost a lot of games and then eventually won. So how to, be prepared for losing or for setbacks, and how to come back still stronger and then, play your game and achieve the potential what you have. Various those kind of things, the team bonding which we did, where, it's a team game, you all have to perform as a team, only then you're going to win, and that's when you're going to also, go to the highest level. So that is another learning, how to play under a coach, how to, lead a team. Because when I played the national level at that time, I was leading the team of under 16. So it was not very easy when you play as a player, and then when you move to the leadership position, it's very different. So at that age itself, there was a lot of exposure to that. Again, coming back to the corporate world, from a sports background, and even in my engineering days, I played a lot of sports. So I never knew what was a corporate all about until I entered into the corporate world. And when I entered the corporate world, it was very different. It was all concrete walls. People were very serious. I felt that whether I will even exist here for a few months and few years or not. But having said that, I think, the lot of learnings which I got from the sports background helped me, first of all, to, talk to people, to collaborate, and to, extend that warmth. It was much easy for me, because I just felt that, it's more easy to go and talk to people and get work done, rather than, wait for somebody to come and ask you things. So a lot of those I could apply in my corporate career, during my, starting then my managerial position. When I after 10 years I got into the manager position, it was, not easy. Again, it was an unknown territory, but of course, looking at what needs to be done, how to lead a team, all this, having a good background helped me. Fast forward 1 year back is when, my mentor, JJ, he approached me and he said that you talk so much about sports, so why don't you think about writing a book and tell the world that how a lot of sports is relevant even in the corporate world. That's when I then, started writing a book again. It was more of going back to the memories that was more interesting for me, and I wrote a lot of things around it. And then I felt somewhere there is a framework which needs to be adapted, and I built a framework around the whole values which I talk about in the book. And what people can look at, and they can, when they read the book, they also see that there is an assessment which they can look at for themselves and for the team, and that assessment can later be refined, or you can look back at it once you do some you take some measures to improve certain aspects in that framework altogether. So it's been wonderful journey, I would say. And starting from the sports to the corporate, and now I'm also looking at how to make that framework much more in terms of available for the first time managers, because today in the corporate world we have something which we define for process and for domain, but from it comes to people or dealing with people, it is not in a very structured way. I'm working on that now. So yeah, that's all about me, and I feel that it is much relevant in today's world.
That's such an awesome journey, Suresh. And what an achievement to be able to represent your state at the national level. And I believe you have done it twice. You have
Yeah.
you have gone for nationals twice representing Maharashtra.
Yes.
That's awesome. And what a wonderful thought of getting those sports values into our regular life, into our professional lives. I think it's very interesting to know. So please tell us more about your book, Sports Agility Mindset. What more is it all about?
So the book, the first half of the book is whole my journey of how about I started playing the sport of basketball, and how I reached the level of nationals, and during that journey what all challenges I faced, or anybody would have faced when they would have played a certain sport and reached a certain level. And then what I do is now take those challenges and see that how these challenges we can overcome, building a proper structure around it. So I have a 7-step framework which I have defined, and each of those steps are keeping in mind also that how in the corporate world the same things apply. So I have then in the second half of the book talked about the corporate challenges which we face today, and then look at those values which I learned from the sports, and how that can be made as a framework. and then subsequently how to build an assessment around it, around those 7 steps, which anybody can take, be it a manager or even if you're a developer or a junior level kind of employee. You can take that assessment and look at where you stand, and it is very elaborate in that way, and it also tips on how you can kind of improve on certain areas and again reassess yourself on a continuous basis. That is, and then I have also talked about a coach mindset compared to what a manager mindset today is all about. And lastly, I've also given gratitude to my coach, who has taught me a lot in the sports world. So I have done an interview with him, and that is very very interesting. You should go through that. So this is more or less about the book. Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, yes, we do definitely need a mentor in our life, whether it is like when you're growing up, you look up to somebody, whether it's like you mentioned, while you were in sports, you needed a mentor, you look up to them. You always look for those role models. So you talk about coach mindset versus manager mindset in your book. It is very interesting. Can you elaborate more on that?
Yeah, so gone are the traditional days where it's a command and control kind of model where managers have to be just giving instructions and people doing things. Today's generation don't care about that. For them, they are smart enough today. They are equipped enough to do their work. But what happens is when it comes to sometimes distractions, when it comes to obstacles, when it comes to guidance, when it comes to client perspective, all these things are something which they look up to for a manager or who is leading the team. They don't look at somebody who's going to give you step by step instructions and you're going to just execute that. So this is a very major mindset change today, I feel, where managers today, they need to look at from a coach perspective. Look at any sport. For example, when India won the 2011 World Cup, the coach was a foreign coach. Just imagine when he was given the task of coaching the Indian team with the likes of Dhoni, with the likes of Tendulkar, with the likes of Yuvraj Singh. All these are very senior people, and they have achieved a lot in their own careers. And when you bring in a foreign coach, do you think he would have just told that do this and do that, and having the culture barrier and language barrier? In spite of that, he worked against the strengths of these people, what they are good at, and how to make them bond like a team and play like a team, and make them achieve their highest potential. Now, this is what I would say that even today's managers have to do. They need to take a step back and they need to look at a coach. You're not the one who is playing the game. The team is playing the game. You need to step back and see how I can tie the loose ends, how I can ensure that everybody is different. At the same time, they may have their own challenges, which is going on in the personal life, all those things, due to which they might be not, performing. Are you able to go and befriend them and go to that level of building that connect with them where they are very transparent with you, and during their difficult times they are also coming and telling you those things, and you are working around those areas. So this is what today's I would say coach mindset is required. And if you look in the sporting world, exactly that is what they do. They are always from the outside, but at the same time very involved with the team. So this is a change or
Right.
shift which I feel is required in today's world.
That's a very interesting and unique thought. But Suresh, is this mindset, like I understand that you are speaking more about corporate, about management. Can this be applied to any leadership roles, like for business heads or entrepreneurs?
Definitely, because I don't think the values change per se. Today's entrepreneurs also have to work with people. So definitely, there is no way that people are different. End of the day, also why I bring in sport is, let us look at sport in a different angle. What is a sport all about? When you watch a sport, which is a cricket or a badminton, and it is even gender, I don't even call it, it's not even gender specific. You see so many sports personalities playing at the highest level. Somebody like a Mary Kom. Just imagine a lady who gives birth to twins and comes back and wins boxing championships. It's not easy. Look at Sindhu today, how she's performing. So what I feel is why I bring in so much sports is, first of all, it is got a limited time. You're watching any sport, it has got a result. It's got winning, it's got losing. It is very finite. At the same time, it is very live, and you are seeing some heroes who are performing in front of you, and they're not acting, because it is something which is going on live and the whole world is watching. So if you see, they have pressures, they have low situations. Imagine an Indian cricket team winning a World Cup after 1983 in 2011. What would have gone in this so many years time? How did they come back and make a team which could win a World Cup? Everybody goes through those ups and downs, and that's what we can pick and choose. So anybody today, even my mom today, sometimes does a commentary better than the commentators because she's so involved in the game and she likes that game, so she can connect with that game. That's where I want to, I always draw this analogy so that everybody can relate very well with the sport and see that, okay, these are the values which we can look at and imbibe in. So I don't see that anybody can apply this starting from a lowest position to the highest management position or even an entrepreneur. They all go through this same set of challenges. And the framework which I talk about, it's more on agility, it's more on objective setting and dream building and sense of purpose, team bonding, resilience. All this applies to anyone and everyone, I feel.
Yeah, that's such an important thing that you said, that, irrespective of the gender, whether you are a man or a woman, entrepreneur or a business leader, yes, we have quite less number of role models for women sportsmen, sportswomen, but I think it is equally important to imbibe what they are displaying in that sport currently. And what can we take as a lesson? We cannot, undergo the kind of hard work or the smart work that they have put into, getting into that sport and getting into the position where they have reached today. But I think every leader, every entrepreneur goes through the similar journey of, pain and pleasure while they're going through this entrepreneurial journey. uh, how would you
I would like
describe?
to add one thing,
Yeah,
Tanushree, here.
sure,
See,
please go.
about women leaders especially. You look at the times today. These are pandemic times. If you see, the HR is struggling today that how to keep the team intact and motivated without giving them raise, without giving them bonuses, but at the same time a fear of losing people. Okay, they also have a pressure from the management to ensure that we have budget cuts and we might need to lay off certain people. Look at the management side of it. Okay, the management side is thinking that how do I keep my team motivated but still achieve my goals and my deliveries, because my customer, I cannot compromise on those commitments. But at the same time, the teams have to sometimes stretch during these times. Look at the teams now. Every team member or every manager who's sitting today has to spend more time on the work, though they are working from home, because they have to handle the kids, they have to manage their work, and meetings are more today, because when you're not face to face, you need to connect more in the form of meetings and those things. Now, who is the one who is doing the maximum in all these things? I would say it's the women entrepreneurs or women employees who has to manage the maximum here. There are times when I myself sit into a room and don't come out for 6 to 8 hours. How are the kids getting managed? How is the food coming onto the table? How is the house getting kept clean and everything? There is a lot which is going on in the background. At the same time, you talk a lot about feminine and masculine energies. During this pandemic times, which is the energy which is coming more prominent today? You want somebody who has to empathize with an employee, who has to understand what they're going through and come from that caring nature, not being aggressive in terms of, I want my work to be done, finish it off. Do you think the people will listen to those kind of leaders today? In such stressful situations, you want somebody who is bringing that highly empathizing kind of approach, rather than being very organized and to tick the boxes and say, I want to do this 9 to 6 and I want to finish it off. It will not work in today's time, especially in these stressful times. You would see that feminine energy being much more prominent and much more telling to the world that this is what we should use more during these times.
Yes,
So yeah, I felt that I
Prakash,
should tell
you
you that.
actually brought it a very good point. Yes, there are a lot of women in active careers who are really trying to, balance themselves in the tip of a needle, in fact, trying to hold on to their careers, trying to hold on to their homes, your own health, the family's health, in fact, everything. Yes, it has not been easy. And what the point that you brought was, yes, nurturing and empathy is on a very high level today. Yes, ticking the boxes won't be the last thing that you'd be doing, but the first and the foremost thing to do is to bring out that nurture empathy. And I can even see, while I was reading your book, the idea of teamwork, and resilience that you spoke about in the book. This is what is coming to fore even in this pandemic times. I'm very glad that you brought those values from sports about resilience, about teamwork, about organization, about strategizing. I think all this comes cumulative towards at this situation in the world pandemic today. So, how would you describe your journey towards this current work that you're doing?
So I thought a lot. I have been in the sports arena for 15 years. I've been in the industry, corporate industry for 20 years. There is a lot that I can give back. I feel, or I can relate a lot of what things are happening today. Like I was talking about, the pandemic situation has brought in the true self of ourselves. And there are cases where you can see that there's a lot of fights happening at home. There is a lot of people who are quitting today the organization. It's very easy for somebody to today quit and find better green pastures, we can call it. But is it going to change when you look back 2 years 3 years down the line? And when this kind of pandemic situation came, how did you kind of react to that? How did you face that situation? Did you run away from it, or did you face it on the face of it and you came out as a winner? And this is where I also wrote an article about leadership values or value driven leadership. Again, I'm stressing a little bit more on leadership because I think that is also one of the themes, that what it takes, so I call it the flair values, which comes being fearless and being authentic. A lot of leaders today are trying to hide around or trying to see that how I don't show my true face to my team, though I'm having so much pressure. I have to convey a message to my team. Am I able to, can I convey it in the way it should be conveyed, or should I hide certain things, or should I be blunt about it? So being that authentic, it is really, really required. Leadership is more, the way I call it, is servitude leadership, where you're serving to the purpose. When you look at the purpose and when you're clear on the purpose, then the obstacles automatically you will be able to dodge with that. Problem is that when we are under pressure, we sometimes transfer this pressure, right? Integrity, because everybody is working from home. What are you doing in your 8 to 9 hours is going to set an example for your team what they are going to do. Lastly, on the resilience part, that as a leader, the best way is to face what it is today. Be open to your team, take the support of your team, at the same time to ensure that yes, whatever is to be passed, whatever today, you need to communicate, even if it is not fully acceptable to anybody or not what it is to the likes of your team, but you need to be that authentic and you need to convey that message. That is what is going to be remembered from your team also as a true leader, what you did. I'll again give an example from the sports side of it. Look at somebody like a captain MS Dhoni. We call him the captain cool, but when he came into the foray in 2007, we had lost the World Cup. And how did he build himself from 2007 to 2011, whereas very senior members like Sachin and all were there in the team? How did he deal with those people? Did he have pressure when he lost a game? Better believe, because the kind of media attention today Indian players get, nobody else gets, even in the positive way, even in the negative way. Lot of questions being asked when he was out of form. There were questions that is he even capable of being a leader? What happened in the finals, we all remember, right, where he hit a shot and it went to a six, and we all remember that scene. But we don't remember some time before that he came to a bat when it was a very precarious situation. He could have easily sent somebody like a Yuvraj Singh ahead of him and tell him to take care of things. But he, as a leader, he stepped up. He led by example and he came into bat during those crucial times and he won the match for us. So these kind of leaders, you will see them in a lot of values which they display, and that flair values which I talk is represented by somebody like an MS Dhoni also. So I feel yes, these things make it very important. And during this situation, especially which you are facing, stay strong, stay put. I'm sure that when you look back after a year or so, you'll be proud of yourself and you'll say that yes, I did this and I could overcome this kind of situation rather than running away.
Wow, that was That was really a beautiful share, the kind of analogy that you gave from sports. And it's so relatable, Suresh, because I think everyone in India is a big cricket buff. And I could really relate to what you were saying about those moments in World Cup, before the World Cup, and how it happened after the World Cup. The examples that you spoke about, the captain having to work under pressure, and it's so relatable to understand that yes, in our corporate or in our professional world too, the similar situation, I wouldn't say same, but a similar situation most of the time is available. I mean, we can just pick up the values that we are seeing here, that you shared, and just take it into every part of our life. And it's such a beautiful thought to be able to learn from somebody else's experience, and their the struggle, the challenges that they have faced. We might typically not be able to undergo everything that they underwent, but to learn something. And this is simply available, these stories are available, these examples
Yes.
are available right in front of us. So, on a lighter note, Suresh, um, please share your favorite quote that inspires you.
Uh, I've been thinking over it. I read a lot of quotes, but in that today's time and relevance, I say that I don't know who told this, but something like it goes like this: the real power comes from the willingness to serve, and after you reach a certain level in your career, you need to look at that aspect. It is a teamwork. It is the team who delivers. It is not one individual. Of course, as a leader, when it comes to taking the blame, I would always say step ahead and take it. And because you are built for that, and you have done your hard work to reach that level where you can take these kind of things. When it comes to accolades, share it with the team, let the team take that accolades. They will stay with you, and you will be eventually successful. So yeah, that's the quote which I believe in.
I love the way you're put through the serving leadership, and it displays the way you are saying things. It displays like, uh, yes, the team comes first. I think it could be the case where, when you get brickbats, it is the manager who has to take the brickbats. But when it is accolades, you're putting the team in the front.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what even I share about feminine leadership qualities, that uh, there are hyper masculine leadership qualities where we push, we you know we are too much into processes and all. But somewhere the human qualities are also required, of nurturing, empathy, putting your team first. And I believe that uh, one of the characteristics of being a leader is not always to be in the forefront saying that I was leading this team or I was the manager of this team, but also to let the team shine, also to let those people shine. And I think that is one of a very important quality that a leader should also have, is to know when to put your team in the forefront, in the limelight. That's beautiful. So, what is your typical morning and night ritual? Like, what are your powerful morning and night rituals that you follow, Suresh?
uh, Morning rituals are more regular. Night ones I need to get little more better. But yeah, mornings, what I do is when I get up and do the usual course, I go for a walk, or maybe go to play a sport a couple of times a week. And for me, when I do that, it gives me so much high that people ask that what is that high element in what you do for you to become the high. Yes, some people drink, some people dance, some people, for everybody there is something that little they are passionate about. Like you, for you it would be dance, I think. So for me, when I go and play a sport is when I forget everything. And that's, I feel sometimes, or when I walk, I'm in my own world, where I look at how I live in an apartment, and I see that how the flowers are there, how is the wind blowing. I sometimes look open up in the sky, and it kinds of gives me a kind of relaxation. At the same time, it's very refreshing, and it's very good way, I feel, to start a day. If you do something on the physical front, or even at least go for a walk or yoga or whatever you do, it actually opens up your mind so that you are fresh. And then when I come back, what I do is I of course follow the gratitude part, and also I set the intention for the day and do some bit of planning well in advance at what are the key things which I need to take care of it. Look at the priority task, and have a short list of priority list, not a long list. Short list is more achievable, I feel. In one of the videos you might be telling about that also. So have a 4 or 5 key things which you want to achieve on that day, and keep focus on that. And that's how I start my day. It helps me a lot to not get distracted, at the same time to be a little more organized. And end of the day, I sometimes read a book before going to sleep. Again, I do the gratitude part. I have to be more regular, but whenever I do that, it gives me immense relaxing feeling, and the kind of sleep which I get is very, very good. And that good 7 8 hours of sleep I get. So I think this is what helps me a lot. I need to be, of course, like I said, more regular, but these are things which really helps me a lot.
Yeah. I mean, especially in the pandemic situation, working from home all the time and not getting this fresh air, I think, yeah, that's a beautiful ritual to have in the start of the day, to be with yourself and to have some physical activity. So, Suresh, I understand that, everyone has been working from home. You have been working from home past 8 to 9 months now. Any power tip or message you want to share with our followers?
Yeah, this is something which I am discovering on day to day, that lot of times we become very monotonous. Like for example, if there is too much work pressure, we forget the time to if we forget the time take we forget to take the time to relax, and we are so much into the rut that end of the day, uh, it's such a it's on the one side you look at it, it's pandemic outside, but you look at a home, you never got an opportunity where you could have had lunch with your family. You never had an opportunity where in between meetings, if you have a half an hour slot, how about just going and telling hello to the kids and seeing what they can do, getting more involved with family. And we all prayed for this, where we need to be more with family, give us more time. And with the travel stress and the work stress, we are never to, I used to also travel abroad. When all that is not there, what you have, if you can nourish that well and you can build that bond very closely with your family, this is the best time I think we can do that. Second is also, I would say, work is going to go on for life. There is no way about two ways about it. How about identifying or spending some time to identify what is your passion, or what do you like to do apart from your work? Something apart from your work, whatever be it. Some people like yoga, some people like dancing, some people like traveling in terms of, okay, now you need to solo travel and come back, but maybe driving is one of the things which you can do. Long drives with no traffic, you'll never get a better opportunity. So find out that one element which can keep you alive, or which will keep you relaxed, which you could have not done it otherwise. Maybe otherwise you would have traveled abroad, or you would have gone for a movie and all those things, which is not possible today. Within the four doors you need to do, but something which is, like I said, a little bit more physical, and which you can let out your stress, or calm yourself. Identify that. That would be one tip which I would give everyone, that find out that and spend that me time around that activity. It will really help you a lot to manage the work life balance kind of thing.
That's a super power tip, Suresh. Yes, we have to keep reminding ourselves to get out of the seat that we have been sitting since morning and actually get going and indulging in our passion. I think this is a great time to bring back your passion, your hobbies, whatever you have been. Yeah, there is externally, I mean, if somebody's hobby has been traveling, that has become a little difficult currently, but I'm sure people can find out different ways to do the same things now. And this is a
Yeah.
good time to actually find alternatives to what we have been doing currently. So, Suresh, would you like to share your coordinates online on social media? Where can we get in touch with you?
So you can search for T Suresh Nair on Facebook, and my podcast is also it's there, where Suresh TK is the handle to my podcast also. So these are the places where you can find me. LinkedIn also, you can look for TK Suresh for LinkedIn also. So these are places where you can find me.
So, what is your podcast name, Suresh?
It is Prime Time Out with Suresh. That is where you need to look for me. So yeah, it's Prime Time Out with Suresh.
Okay. So, viewers and listeners, do check out Prime Time Out with Suresh podcast show. I think it's available on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, everywhere.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Suresh, for taking out time from your busy schedule and joining for the show. We wish you a very best for your future and wish you higher successes for your book, Sports Agility Mindset. May it be a super sales. And dear listeners and viewers, the links to Suresh TK's online presence is in the description below. With this, we come to an end to today's Soul Sunday episode. You can head over to my website www.tanushrinair.com to subscribe to my newsletters or connect with me on my FB page and YouTube page Tanushri Nair. Instagram, I'm there as Soulful Living with Tanushri. You can also subscribe by pressing the bell icon on my YouTube channel. Thank you for joining me on today's episode. And until we meet again, stay safe, stay inspired. You're all loved. Peace, love, and light. Your host Tanushri signing off.